Welcome to the Trek Wars podcast, the one podcast that dares to answer the most important question in fandom, which is better, Star Wars or Star Trek, by going through both franchises in chronological release order. I am Kenny Madison of the Star Trek contingent. With me, as per always, is
Aspen Webster, the Star Wars contingent.
If you think that I'm rushing through this intro, you might not necessarily be alone as we talk about the really fast episode, Wink of an Eye from Star Trek The Original Series Season 3 versus Dooku Captured from Star Wars The Clone Wars Season 1.
Kenny.
Yeah, boss.
Where did you go?
Hi.
You're back.
I forgot to sit down and write my list of a whole bunch of implausible physics questions in regard to Wink of an Eye.
We're not
there
yet.
Yeah, I don't care either.
Yay! Okay. I was like reading some. We'll get into it, but I was reading I was reading some reviews of this episode. Every review is preoccupied by the quote plot holes and the science of the thing. And I'm like, hey, I gotta tell you a secret. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
when has the science ever actually worked?
It just happened.
Get over it. It was wild to me.
Why do things happen? They just happen.
We're
already attacking the logic within Wink of an Eye, and we haven't even told people that are playing the home game.
No, I'm not even attacking the logic. I'm attacking other people being preoccupied.
Logic.
I am attacking the logic of people preoccupied by the logic. My argument to them is, who's to say? Who cares? I've watched a lot of weird shit. I watched an episode where they went through a portal into the past multiple times. And I got to tell you, was anyone ever like, wow, I doubt the science of this portal? You know what I mean? Like, calm down.
Yeah, man.
It's fine. Everything's fine. It wasn't a bad episode. It wasn't bad.
Yeah, no, I liked it. I liked both of these episodes.
It's because I like emotionality in things. And I like people wanting things. And I like a plot that chugs along with some feelings involved. So just chugga feeling. So
speaking of chugging along, Aspen, would you be so kind as to give us the synopsis for this week's episode of the Clone Wars?
Star Wars Clone Wars. Dooku captured. January 2nd, 2009 was when this was released. And it was directed by Jesse. Yeah. Is that how you pronounce the name? I really hope so.
Aspen, you are the Star Wars contingent. You would know better.
There are a lot of directors, Kenny. Jesse, yeah. And then the writers, of course, Henry Gilroy, Scott Murphy is the supervising writer, Julie Siege is the writer. So, beautiful grouping of people. And the what is it about? Written by the TV archaeologist on IMDb. Obi-Wan and Anakin infiltrate Count Dooku's frigate in an attempt to capture him, but all three end up crash landing on the planet Vancor instead. While the Jedi are busy fighting a Mother Gundark, Dooku falls into the hands of a pirate gang led by Hondo Ohnaka. The pirate chieftain offers Dooku up for ransom to the Republic or to the Separatists, whoever will give them more, in exchange for 1 million credits worth of spice. Rad episode.
Aspen, I gotta say.
Yeah.
Yeah. The spice must flow.
Sure should. It sure does. I like any time that there are talks of spice, moving spice in the Star Wars universe, because I like anything that gets outside of kind of your classic baddies. So I like it when there are like syndicate leaders. This is drug running. I think that's like kind of got some fascinating implications. You get into like,
ooh,
I know, because there's like a weird way that kind of the economics of these sort of like black market economy, like how this works within the galaxy. And of course, when you have any of these, it's funny to see like even like under the Republic and then later under the Empire, these systems exist. You have these like the Hutts, and you have these other kind of heads of power in these unofficial ways. What does that look like? I always like it. And I like that there are pirates. And I love Hondo. This, by the way, is the first appearance of Hondo.
Ohnaka.
We love Hondo. He's a little stinker. He's an asshole, but we love him.
That's not all we love. We also love Star Trek.
We also do.
including Wink of an Eye. If my spreadsheet is to be believed, the 66th episode of Star Trek The Original Series first aired November 29th, 1968, directed by Judd Taylor, story by Lee Cronin.
Who's that?
Who's that?
Who's that?
And teleplay by Arthur Heinemann.
Who's that? But who's that?
Lee
Truly
Cronin,
who's
also
that?
known as Gene Kuhn. And
Surprise.
this is there's some interesting stuff that happens behind the scenes, like slightly interesting this week. From TV Guide for its November 23rd, 1968 issue, the synopsis. The Enterprise is invaded by invisible beings living at a fantastic tempo. The invaders are using the crew to continue their species, but their method renders humans susceptible to cell damage, rapid aging, and quick death.
Okay. Cool.
Again, it's like poetry, so that they rhyme.
If you're thinking that the Star Trek synopsis seems a little anemic, spoilers, no, that's pretty much it.
I don't think so.
I mean, sure, there's some thematic stuff if you dig into it, and there's some. I mean, I adore this episode. This was a fun romp.
You adore it?
I had no idea what I was going to feel regarding this episode, because I've watched the first season a whole bunch of times because I've started a rewatch, but very rarely finish that rewatch because I get distracted. And so
By what?
Life, sunrises.
Oh, sunsets? Puppies?
No, never sunsets.
Oh.
Only sunrises.
Oh, the metaphorical implications are vast.
Don't think about it too hard.
Yeah.
So anyways, it's easier to approach these episodes, and also like the reputation of season 3 is these are all going to be lackluster episodes. So whenever we just kind of have a campy, fun, like plot driven, fun episode with campy elements, silly elements, but strong characterization. I mean, I just had a good time.
Gotta lean into it. I did wonder about that.
Sorry, I didn't play the first impressions sound effect.
I did think about that, where I was like, am I having a good time because I am like, it's just I am a beggar in the desert? Like, is that what's going on?
It certainly
here?
doesn't feel like Ewoks droids territory.
No. Like, it is. I often find myself sometimes being just like delighted by actors too. And when and also if something just feels interesting and engaging throughout. So maybe that is like a low bar, but I do just genuinely think it was interesting. I'm not caught up. I don't care about any of the plot holes of the thing, or like analyzing the motivations of people, or
it's not plot holes. It's a complete disregard for physics and also the internal rules that it establishes.
Whatever. Once again, portal back in time.
Sure. But at the same time, there are just like, there are elements that just kind of get thrown by the wayside because we need the episode to move on. For instance, whenever Kirk is trying to communicate with Spock, and so he inputs some stuff into the computer. And, it does. However, that input, we don't know how fast the Enterprise computers operate. And ostensibly, it would take a very long time for that information to assimilate. Turning on the computer could take a very long time. Additionally, as it was said in These Are the Voyages, Season 3 by Mark Cushman and Susan Osborne, the folks at the researching facility, oh boy, I gotta go all the way forward. Here we go. All right, here we go.
Oh my God! Just geez, oh my God!
Pete Sloman, the science authority at DeForest Research, said, "In wink of an eye, you've got an untenable scientific proposition. For any object to move so fast that you can't see it, which means we're talking about moving at relative speeds, how do you keep from burning up? How do you keep the turbulence caused by your passage from not knocking people over? It's just a silly idea." That's the sort of thing that was happening.
I don't care.
Aspen, I'm with you. It's just silly.
What do you mean it's just silly?
It's fun to think about.
I guess. Like, I don't know. None of these people are the Flash.
For instance, they should be able to like go through like doors, because the Enterprise operates with automatic doors. And so every
Right.
single time that they want to leave,
Sure.
they're going to have to stand there and just wait for the door to open, because a thing that would help a lot of Star Trek plots is if these doors had knobs. And additionally, if they were able to somehow apply pressure onto those doors, it would rip the doors off of the hinges, because the forces they would be applying are moving so quickly that suddenly every single interaction with anything goes fast. Whenever Kirk and deal a bone, I was thinking about them getting on the bed and being like, does the bed must be hard whenever they get on the bed. Does the bed then gradually get softer because it's finally reacting? Or does the bed explode because they interpreted the force of Kirk and Deela hitting the bed to be so rapid that the bed just explodes, but slowly?
I gotta stop you right there. I can't believe that you watched Kirk suggestively putting his boots back on, and instead of thinking to yourself, oh my God, did they just fuck? Like,
Sorry, can you say that louder and like right into the microphone so the levels are peaking?
oh my God, did they just fuck? Like, instead of saying that, you were like, I wonder if their lovemaking had any kind of effect on the bed. Fuck off.
I did raise my eyebrows, and I did get excited, because I think this is the first time that unless Kirk was just like, I'm going to get comfy.
Yeah, he took off his shoes because he was like, you can't put your shoes on the bed. No, we're just going to lie in bed together and kiss.
We've talked about Kirk drift ad nauseum over this podcast. This might be the first time where there has been, well, outside of the Paradise Syndrome.
No,
he's Miramani.
He is constantly in this season kissing ladies.
Hold on, but hold on now. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
But sexing, though.
Sexing.
Having sex.
Yeah. Right. This is the first time it feels explicitly like he has had the sex.
Well, that, and he put a baby in Miramani. Remember that?
Oh my God.
Whenever he's Kirok.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, pretty depressing.
No, I don't like the way you just said that. Oh, I don't like that.
Oh dear.
Oh,
Should I cut that out?
Oh, it's okay. Okay. I don't like I hate that phrasing. Oh my gosh. Sorry.
The way that Miramani and Kirok came together to make love.
Get out of my
and a
face.
representation of that love.
Oh my God.
Little baby.
I hate you. I hate this whole thing. I hate all of this. I forgot about that. But it's because he forgot he was him in that one.
He did.
And I was like, okay, well, it's not like Kirk being like, I recognize that this is a situation that is temporary. I have full plans to get out of this. But while I'm here, don't mind if I do. Don't mind if I do. And I get a little kiss and I get a little tap. You know, it was wild. Putting those boots back on. I was like, you joking me? You literally are like, this is the enemy.
Yeah.
But she's so hot.
Yeah.
But I guess on a certain level, she was so enchanting to me, by the way. I was like, I thought she was so pretty. And I thought she was such a good actor. And I liked her very much. And so I think I was like, a lot of my attention in the episode was driven by being like, wow. So I don't blame him too much, I guess.
Yeah.
This
episode was fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. Let me tell you a story about how I went to go see Iron Man 2. We agreed not a very, very good movie. But I remember I saw it in Somerville, Massachusetts, the Somerville Theater. And I was like, I'm going to go watch the film. I'm just going to go watch a movie. And I watched it with a bunch of engineers. And we walked out of that movie.
That was a bad idea, Aspen.
And I was like, that was fun. Bop, 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 bop. And every stupid engineer was just like, that doesn't make sense. The science of this doesn't make sense. I'd like, this couldn't work. This is not going to happen. And I was just like, okay.
If I could offer like an easy fix to every engineer's qualms about Iron Man 2,
here
we go.
Yep.
Tony Stark invented a thing.
Yeah. I get.
This couldn't happen. Well, Tony Stark
I don't.
thought of that,
I don't.
and so he invented a thing.
Sometimes I get into arguments with my dear sweet partner about this. It often comes up with
Mhm.
time travel stuff,
Sure.
where a lot of the time I will excuse.
I can't. Sorry.
I know.
can't.
We can do it. Okay. I will, for what it's worth. Like I am guilty of being like, I will excuse plenty of things if it feels narratively like it's worth it. It's maybe worth the twist of the thing or it not making sense. I will excuse a multitude of sins. And sometimes I shouldn't. I will give people that. And sometimes I'm a little like, hey, stop sounding like the guy in the Pete Holmes magic show yelling it's magnets.
Magnets. Magnets.
So just like have fun. So.
Shut up.
Anyway, yeah.
We both agree.
Yeah.
Complaining about logic plot holes is stupid.
Which is why we're talking at length.
Yeah, because I think it is reflective of a lazy bit of criticism because we're willing to forgive so much, but then there are moments within like certain Star Wars properties where they are like bombs wouldn't fall in space. Why would there be a bomber? And I'm like, my guy, you're just looking for things to complain about in something that spoilers might not be for you.
Yeah.
So why don't you just go
get out of here,
do the adult thing and be like, I'm going to let go.
Oh yeah.
And that's it's usually always a bad faith thing. But then there's a difference between like logic-based plot holes and emotional plot holes.
Right.
Which are then, because for you and I, characters are the things that make the movie sing.
You're right.
And so like oh boy.
Yeah.
Give us an example, Aspen.
Of
like
what?
Of an emotional character thing that could be considered like an emotional plot hole.
Oh God. I guess maybe the closest is when you have a character that does like act out of character for the purposes of plot, as opposed to like something that is actually character driven in and of itself. Yes. Like I guess the best examples I'm thinking of are like TV examples in shows that have gone on for a while, and like the best example I'm thinking of is Supernatural. There came a time where because I've talked about Supernatural, I'm sure, many times. 15 seasons of a show where you'd have a writer who'd come in and they're like, well, I need this thing to happen. But like, it actually kind of doesn't make sense in the context of those characters. But they're just like, well, yeah, we'll take all the growth that these characters had that they've gone through. Like maybe they went through an entire season of like, we need to like communicate better or whatever. And then the character like Dean will like do the exact opposite of that. And you're just like, come the fuck on. Like, I don't care if you need to make that stupid plot point happen. Be a better writer. Yeah. Or just cancel the show. I don't know. So that's, I think, maybe the best example of it is when like, characters are out of character. Mm-hmm. Yeah. For the purposes of plot, as opposed to say what I think we're talking about, which is to say that like I am okay with a plot, like a specific thing within it being shifted quite a little bit to serve, like if that plot in Supernatural had been shifted to serve their characterization, I'd be fine with that. Yeah, because I'm like, it's fine. It's just the story we're telling here, but those characters, their motivations would actually matter. So. Is that what you wanted?
Absolutely.
Is that what you wanted from me?
Yeah. Yes.
Did you know we're both wearing green right now? Happy
St. Patty's.
Oh my God. Don't pinch me. Don't pinch me.
Oh, don't do it.
Don't do it.
So yeah, Winkham and I is a delightful romp. And then we've also got Dooku captured.
Also a delightful romp.
A delightful romp, and we're starting to get into we've been getting into the politics of this thing. And then it is just delightful that Dooku gets captured because he's being an opportunist, and suddenly
he's just like, fuck.
Yeah, because that stuff happens, and that's That's delightful. It is great. It is interesting.
It is.
I just enjoy watching Dooku maneuver his way through these things while trying to escape. I love the fact that the episode just starts with Anakin being captured.
Right. Like it's already happened, like off screen.
Am I to believe that this episode happens like right after the Clone Wars movie?
I don't know. The answer is I don't know, and I'm sorry. I know I'm supposed to be the Star Wars expert, but sometimes
You are supposed to be the Star Wars expert. And I hold it against you.
I just get by on vibes, man.
I understand. That's one of the reasons probably why I like Star Trek and Star Wars a little bit more, because I'm just like, we're here. Come on. I adore these vibes. We're here. What do you want from me?
You know, this was just a really great time.
Yeah.
Let's see. Like we can, but yeah, to your point, it was, let's see, what is the watch order? We can check out Reddit. It at first I was like, oh no, did I skip an episode again? But it is okay. Here's a link to the official chronological order.
Here we go.
Stay tuned. Okay.
The official chronological order.
Okay.
Here we go.
This is weird. I can't tell how this is. So, okay, so this is how it was, but this is when it happened in time. There's like, okay, because it goes cat and mouse, hidden enemy, clone cadet, supply lines, ambush. Okay, I do believe this is. Yeah, okay, this is the order. So, what would this have been? Dooku captured 111. What? Wait.
I need to put something in the spreadsheet of just being like, how do we watch this in complete chronological order?
I don't think this isn't making sense to me.
Sure.
Sorry.
No worries.
Feeling very confused by this structure that they have here. Here, let me like send this statement. We can cut this out. Me looking this up.
I will do that.
But like, oh, I see. Oh, okay. It's by, I get it. Okay, it's by season and episode. So like in chronological order, Cat and Mouse is first, and that's an episode that happens it's season 2, episode 16, and then Hidden Enemy, which is the 16th episode of the first season, and then the theatrical release would happen. So I guess technically it would be like season 1. So Ambush would be, oh no, the next one would be, oh my god, I don't fucking know, would be Clone Cadets in chronological order. But that happens in season 3 in supply
I'm looking
lines.
at the article on StarWars.com, and it seems like it happens, not immediately after the Clone Wars theatrical movie.
It doesn't. No, it happens. It's like 15 episodes or 13 technically. So there's 2 episodes before the theatrical release. It would have, like that movie, there's 2 episodes that would have happened before that movie.
Yeah.
So it is.
That's wild.
Yeah. This is an interesting structure of things. Yeah. I mean, it does start to this. Yeah. It's an interesting kind of thing. Because looking at this, it's like, oh, technically an episode from season 2 happens before the Clone Wars movie. I support it. Anyway, now that I'm like understanding it, I'm getting this a little bit better. But yes,
yeah.
Sorry. Wow. Make of that what you will. But I do like that it's an in media res thing. It's a very Star Trek thing of it to do. And also a Star Wars thing, actually. A lot of Star Wars movies will just start with, it's like, we're in the battle.
I feel like Clone Wars does it even more, especially with the prologue to every episode, which always starts with big bursts of action.
Right.
And then just a quick setting of the status quo, and then the rest of the episode adheres to its own internal logic, while also still having this lightly serialized,
I know,
2 to 3 episode structure that is wonderful and makes things count. Let's talk about.
Yeah, it's worth noting this is the first episode of a new arc, because it ends
right after Newt Gunray got captured.
Right.
But then he got uncaptured, and now Count Dooku.
Yeah, now that
he got captured.
No, just everybody get captured.
And then there was the 2D Clone Wars where Palpatine got captured.
Everyone has to take their turn.
When is Grievous going to get captured?
Does Grievous ever get captured?
Aspen, I can't answer that. I've never seen Clone Wars.
Let me think about it. But you know
Anakin's gotten captured. Obi-Wan's gotten captured. Padme's gotten captured.
Ahsoka gets captured, probably.
Ahsoka gets captured. Does anyone get captured and just stay captured? Well, I can tell you the answer to that. Those 2 prisoners that Obi-Wan opens the door on and then is just like, sorry.
You're not who
What a twerp.
I know. I was like,
Obi-Wan.
let them go.
You are a Jedi. You are a keeper of the peace, not a soldier. Why not get them out too?
Yeah, like they're probably not like baddies. Like they're being kept on this ship by a baddie. It was wild. I very much
wildly. I mean, he's being a rascal. Well, it sounds like he's being a rascal, but at the same time, he's doing something that is like
horrifying. Like horrifying.
Yes,
like that,
actually horrifying.
It's a weird joke. I was genuinely like, maybe this just, what does this say about Obi-Wan, the person?
Do you think that was a George Lucas call?
Probably. He's just like, that seems like something that, Obi-Wan would do.
Let's talk about this.
Let's talk about what?
Because we haven't been talking about the morals that start at the end of.
Oh, you're right. We haven't been talking about the fortune cookies.
The fortune cookie. Thank you, Aspen. The winding path to peace is always a worthy one, regardless of how many turns it takes.
Right.
Now, how is that represented in the episode?
Well, one of the turns might be that you don't release captured people.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
What does peace mean to Dave Filoni and George Lucas at this point in time?
I mean, is freedom really free?
Whoa. Oh. Whoa.
Bruh.
Oh my god.
Bruh.
How can we be living in the United States when we're so divided? Again, you can subscribe to the Patreon for $5 a month, patreon.com/TrekWarsPod.
I don't know. That's one of those where I actually feel like that's fairly representative of kind of any little adventure within Clone Wars, because it's like,
yeah, these things are probably generalities that kind of sound good, and
right.
Filoni probably just wants to put something at the front,
dude,
because they're dealing broken record. They're dealing in aesthetics, not necessarily breaking down what exactly the intricate systems are and the mechanics of the Clone Wars, at least at this point in time.
I guess we can let's assume they were like, listen, this is specifically about this episode, and I mean this with my whole chest. In that case, I guess that sometime, I mean, like in this case, there's like a moment where so the pirates capture Dooku.
The Weequays
captured Dooku. Okay, I'm sorry. The Weequays captured Dooku.
Because I knew what the species name was.
I love you. Thank you. Hondo!
Fascinating.
So the Weequays capture him. Unexpected. Truly an unexpected turn, right? Like they were like, we need to get this dude. He crashes on that planet.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think Obi-Wan says something about it being like, this is like, take this as like kind of a gift or something. Because it's like, you might have gotten away if it hadn't been for this. And now we're at least in a situation where we can potentially negotiate something, even if it's not what we thought it was going to be. So I guess it could be that.
I mean, that is how the episode ends. Obi-Wan's like, don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
Right.
Which is, I think, possibly one of my favorite endings to a Clone Wars episode.
It was really funny.
Because Anakin's like, I don't know, this feels weird. And Obi-Wan's like, dude, chill out. Win's a win. And then it's like, dun, 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 dun. It's very low energy. And I enjoy it very much.
It's pretty funny. I mean, and like some, weird shit happens if you're not like paying attention, that it's like their drinks were clearly drugged because they had like switched them out with these other guys who pass out right as they drink them. Right. And you're just like,
because Anakin and Obi-Wan go to, on behalf of the Republic, go to investigate if the pirates have actually captured Dooku.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, the pirates are, while Anakin and Obi-Wan are there, trying to poison them.
Right.
And
because
an
they're pirates.
extraordinary force trick. I just loved watching the animation of the cups leaving their hand and instantly going into the other hands. And then the comedy of the folks on either side of them passing out was really funny.
It was
There's
really
funny
good.
stuff in this app. The Jawa, like someone kicking the Jawa, and the fight just instantly breaks out, and the Jawa flies across the room and hops on it. It's great.
All the lines between Obi-Wan and Anakin.
Loved it. We get a real barn burner between Anakin and Obi-Wan in a way that I don't think that we've gotten yet.
I mean,
It's just a classic Anakin Obi-Wan episode, and I think that's one of the things that I gravitated to so much.
Yeah, like
their chemistry is so good.
This is one of those unique situations where the Gundark thing, right? Like they have isn't there a line? I know that there's a line originally in Empire about pulling the ears off a Gundark, but isn't there a line too? And about that falling into that Gundark pit? Like, I saved you from that Gundark pit, or is it a different creature?
Falling to that nest of Gundarks.
Yes, the falling to the nest of Gundarks.
In episode 3.
In episode 3. And so this is I knew it. I was like, I'm not confusing Star Wars creatures, am I? Yeah, we fell into that Gundark nest. This is, I like it being look, this is that story they were talking about in that elevator. We didn't get to see them, and now we get to see it. And you're just that's so fun, because it is fun. It's really fun. And it's not Han, what's your last name? Where are your people? I don't have any people. Solo, right? It's not that kind of bullshit. It's an actual, that was a throwaway line, and yet still it's wouldn't that be fun? Just use what we got, Why make something new? I love that. Oh my gosh. So wow.
I think that might have been in episode 2. Yep. It's in episode 2.
Is it episode 2?
It's a different nest of Gundarks.
It's a different nest of Gundarks. Well, that's fine.
So sorry, Aspen.
I was really hoping it was 3. Oh well. But
I was hoping that it was 3 too.
But you know what? Still got to see a nest of Gundarks.
We did get to see a nest of Gundarks.
So I'm not going to complain.
Yep.
Yeah.
What is also interesting and demonstrative of Filoni's approach.
Yep.
In regards to Gundarks, obviously we're seeing Gundarks, and not only that, but the design team, the design of the Gundarks were pulled from an actual Star Wars monster manual and also the Star Wars role-playing game.
Yep. Yeah. Why, use what you've got, that is kind of what I'm seeing here. Is there's a lot of there's so much to be had, so much joy, so many ideas. Why not? Look at this exciting thing that we can take and adapt. So the design of it is really fun. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's got big honking ears, got some fur.
Because you got to pull those ears off.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a big girl. It's a big girl. Because it's a nest. And she da mama. She da mama.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. What was
She's da mama.
If you could just, sorry, the sound is cutting out on what you're saying.
She da mama.
And it's just one more time, just so I can get it locked.
Da mama.
Bad baby. No, it's crazy.
There's this town near us called Rancho Cucamonga. Cucamonga. Am I getting it wrong? I think it's Rancho.
You're definitely getting it right. It's Cucamonga, because my dad would say that city all the time.
It's because it's from
Rancho
Cucamonga. It's because it's from Looney Tunes, and it would be, and the way it is said is Cucamonga.
Yeah.
So every time we see it, that's what we do. We're always just Cucamonga.
Incredible.
Anyway, she da mom. What are we talking about? What are we doing? I'm in a real goofy mode, man. I'm a goof.
You're in a goofy mood.
You're a goofy. You're a goof. You know what? This is a fun episode. There's great back and forths. We get a Hondo. I like the idea too of Dooku being captured, which you could be like, what? This man is being captured, but there are so many pirates. Kenny, looks like you have something to say.
I do have something to say because I rose my hand in Zencaster.
Mhm.
This, speaking of Count Dooku being captured, one of the reasons that he's captured is that he's so valuable. And also,
Mhm.
Hondo, I believe, is the first one to mention that Count Dooku is wealthy.
He is. Sure is, because he's a fucking count, man. Because he probably bought it.
Yeah, as we talked about in previous episode. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I love it. We are now adding further layers into what exactly that position means
Right.
within this.
Yeah.
Adding a financial interest into
Fantastic.
that. I adored that. And then also let's talk about this trope, Aspen.
Oh, I'm excited. Yeah.
Because we got Anakin and Obi-Wan. They're being ding dang rascals.
Dude,
They're lifting rocks. They're throwing rocks.
Uh-huh.
They're dealing with rocks.
That is key to being a Jedi, I'd say.
Lots of rock lifting.
Yeah, I would say canonically.
And then also, Ahsoka is on the ship.
Yep.
And she's being like, those rascals down there.
Yep.
And what is interesting, and perhaps a little bit deconstructed in Ahsoka season 1 and other texts that we haven't gotten to yet.
Uh-huh.
But Ahsoka, and what often very often happens within the comedic dynamic of there's a boy and there's a girl,
Could it be any more
identifying
obvious?
person, femme identifying person, and the boy gets to be goofy,
Mm-hmm.
and the girl has to be like, those rascals.
Those rascals.
Am I gonna have to clean up in here?
Oh. Anakin.
Yeah, and I just noticed that.
That dynamic was happening.
Yeah, even though Ahsoka is the Padawan.
Yep.
But it doesn't feel out of character.
Yeah.
And it's not even necessarily wrong.
Right.
I just think that it's an interesting point of discussion. That's it.
Actually, I was thinking of it more in the context of how delightful that, it's funny when you see the like Anakin Ahsoka dynamic, because Anakin's trying his best.
Yeah.
He has a Padawan and Ahsoka who is a lot like him to start with.
Mhm.
And then, picks up a lot of his habits.
Yeah.
I think the benefit that Ahsoka gets to have is that she ends up with like a lot of teachers effectively.
Luminara and
yeah.
Julie.
She learns from Luminara. She learns from Obi-Wan.
Plo
Koon, hugely. She does. Like, she genuinely does. And I think that's actually a benefit to her because she is so much like Anakin. And so a lot of the time she will kind of get to be like a little touch of the rascal. And he has to be the one who's just like, oh, even though he's still kind of a jokester with her. And it is always fun to then see it back over to it's Obi-Wan who's the one that's got everything under control, and Anakin who's like jumping down chutes and stuff and not thinking, right? And like just letting his like instincts lead him as opposed to really thinking it through. I think you're right in general. I think there is like a touch here. Yeah, what you're talking about. But I don't think it always has to be that way.
Yeah, it doesn't become egregious because Ahsoka is given different characterizations.
Yeah.
She is not constantly being put into a caretaker role.
Right.
And also,
she's not like she's a Nisa from Ewoks. She's not always the one who's like annoyingly has to always be so goddamn capable all the time.
But even that was offset by Latara, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Because they bothered to have, as opposed to the rest of 80s media,
right.
They had two femme identifying characters. Am I saying that right?
Femme?
Can I just say girls?
Yeah, I mean, they are girls. I think like femme.
They're femme presenting.
Well, they are girls.
Girls.
If it's like femme, it's like, like I'm non-binary, but femme, like, what I mean? That's typically like the use of it. But they're girls, women, they're girls, like.
Cool.
Thanks.
So, sorry to make you do the work.
No, whatever. Oh my God. I'm like, Jesus.
I'm not being a good ally right now. I apologize.
Truly such a labor moment for me. God. Jesus Christ. But
speaking of
yeah.
femme presenting characters, should we talk
Ladies.
about we've talked about Dila a little bit beforehand, and the fact that
I was enchanted by her.
Kirk and Dila canonically bone. But then not only that, we got a little polycule situation going on.
It is actually okay. So
Or
just
more of a love triangle, but also it feels
could
like
have been a polycule.
It feels like inherently Dila's husband, Rael,
is I didn't catch that they were actually partnered.
Husband or partner. Yeah, they're romantic partners.
Okay.
But he's sterile because he goes too fast. No.
Well, he's sterile because whatever radiation caused them to go too fast, that was in the volcano, also made them all sterile.
Which in the original draft by Gene Alcoon, it was all the men were just really ugly.
That's funny.
That's really funny. And they were like, can we do something different?
Can we?
More dramatically compelling as opposed to casting Wallace Shawns.
Oh, Wallace.
No, that dude did Woody Allen movie recently. That dude's a twerp.
Fuck you, Wallace, then.
Fuck you, Wallace Shawn.
I really missed that. I think I just thought that it was they were in love with each other but couldn't be together because of this rule around reproduction and or this tradition. Because I took from it that it's such a dire scene situation, and that we have done this for years and years and years, that at this point there is no space for a relationship that would just be romantic and loving. It has to be that I have to be with people basically for breeding stock, and people men who are not sterile. So I guess I missed that because I was forming this thought in my mind that sucks. That's very frustrating for you to be well, I can't have this relationship if it doesn't mean reproduction. But
yeah,
I guess technically she does. And she's, if that is the truth. Oh, sorry. So, okay. I guess I just totally started forming an opinion.
Aspen, you and I both enjoyed this episode. There are also multiple times where I don't really have to do this very often.
Yeah.
But I had to rewind several times to be like, so what is, so what's the plot? And ultimately, what I boiled down to is that the, oh boy, what's the name of the race that's in a wink of an eye?
I know. Okay. What are they? Oh my God. Can you tell me?
I just watched this.
I know, man. I know.
And I've got 2 pages of notes, as you can see.
Scalosians.
The Scalosians.
Because they're from Scalos.
I have 2 pages of notes. I do the work. But also I couldn't remember.
I know. Now, welcome to me, who just forgets everybody's name. Okay, so the
Scalosians' plan, at least these 5 Scalosians, is that they beamed up. They hopped onto the transporter beam along with the folks that were getting beamed up for the landing party, as well as that one security officer. And their plan was to grab Kirk, convert him because he's a hottie, and use him for breeding stock, and then freeze the rest of the Enterprise, and then let that ship stay up in orbit. And then, because also the problem for non-Scalosians is that whenever they get sped up to be in Wink of an Eye land, they burn out quite quickly, so they die fast. And so they need a lot of breeding stock around in order to repopulate the Scalosian society. And so they literally hook in a giant freezer to the life support in environmental engineering to freeze the ship.
While you're going through that.
Excellent.
Everything I'm seeing, including villains wiki and the regular wiki, I don't think they were together.
I think they were together.
I don't. I think they had feelings for each other. I think that she is seen as she's the queen of them. And there's not a lot of them. She's the leader of the Scalosians.
She is? Then
Yeah.
why wasn't she the one that was giving the transmission in the video that
Okay.
they were watching?
Okay. This one does say Dila's lover.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And truly, this podcast is about being
Well,
right.
I think, the reason I actually think that
I'm talking on my behalf.
it changes a little bit of the reading for me in either way. Because I was like, to be perfectly frank, I was like thinking in terms of, oh goodness, like the feeling I was having before of like how horrifying in existence to be thinking of partnership that way, that it must result in reproduction and that you can't be with someone just for pure love. Because, there's plenty to be said in that in like our own modern context. It has nothing to do with this context, but I think, like I think of personally, right? This idea of like choosing to not have kids and being like, but my partnership is so valid and like love and like a connection and intimacy can be had regardless.
You are living a meaningful life.
Yeah, you live a meaningful life. Obviously, the context would be very, very altered if literally there were like 5 of you left of your entire race. Then it starts to become an interesting like problem. And she even like brings that up as like we have the right to do this for our survival, which is of course not true. It's not true. But if like you've had these lessons taught to you, and this is like what people have done, your entire species has done for years and years. I mean, there's a real, regardless of whether he is her lover or not, there's a real horror, like to the like breeding stock idea.
Yeah.
Even if you like it because they're hot, like she grabs him and kisses him, assault. It's pretty gross.
And then also was like, I was giving you invisible kisses and you had no idea.
Gross. Get out of here.
Assault.
Again, she was enchanting, and I say that not like just in appearance. I mean, her acting, I found her to be, but like the way that the character is behaving, horrifying.
Yeah.
There's
like, something to be said about emotional tone, just being able to carry through like so many problematic pieces that I'm just like,
right.
Yeah, but like,
right.
Cool vibes, right?
Cool vibes. I mean, there are cool vibes. She is genuinely like, you're a cutie.
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to have a baby by your non-irradiated semen.
And what's wild is that her performance is exactly like the way that you just said that.
Non-irradiated semen. She said that at least 10 times. Yeah, I mean, the idea of it is pretty horrifying because it's like when you really get down to it, it's like you're breeding stock and we're putting the ship into this cryogenic like space so that we can extract them for the future for such purposes when you burn out.
Yes.
That's pretty gross. That's like a fucking Queen Spider shit, like Black Widow stuff.
Queen Spider?
Queen Spider, like Black Widow shit, like I'll keep these like on deck for when I need to just go, yeah. So, but she's hot, so it's okay. And he still fucks her.
You know what's interesting about both these episodes?
Yeah.
A leader gets stolen by pirates.
Love it.
Isn't that wild?
I like the idea that the Scalosians are pirates because they are.
They are pirates.
Yeah.
They've done this before.
Yep. They've stolen humans. They steal and trade in humans. They are human traffickers.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And at one point, do you remember that one point that Dila was just like, look at me. I'm the captain now.
Yeah.
Kirk.
Yeah. And then Kirk acquiesced very quickly. Like, what I did was not acceptable. There is some delicious Shatner acting that goes on here. Whenever he gets zapped by the Scalosian weapon, and for some reason, it doesn't function like standard phasers.
It's great. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
In Starfleet. No, it's fun.
Don't worry about it.
Why can't I point out something that I think is fun?
It's fun.
And not only that, it becomes a canonical example of this is how this weapon works because someone else does the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Shatner gets hit by the weapon and then slowly falls back.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty great. Oh.
It's pretty great.
There is a specific Shatner moment that I loved beyond reason.
Here we go.
So so Shatner's like, okay, I need the crew to figure this out. He gets the message through to them. Spock is like, got it. I see what's happening. They're going really fast. We got to figure out how I could go really fast to get on their level. Drinks the water. You think that, So, and then he also, what?
Yes, I know the moment. I'm just very excited. Keep going.
And so now he's on the same like tempo as Kirk. Kirk runs into the hall, sees Spock, and all he does is just gives him like the most lovely smile, and that's it. And then they just go, and I was just like,
it's great.
I loved it so much. Like he wasn't even just like, Spock, you figured it out. He's just like, oh, boyfriend. My boyfriend is so smart. I loved it. It's great.
And Aspen.
Yeah.
You
Kindle.
You want to learn a phrase that got employed liberally that will make you sound like a film scholar instantly?
Love it. Never went to film school. Feeling embarrassed. Living in a town where everyone went to UCLA. Dutch angles?
Dutch angles.
Dutch angles.
Look at me. I'm a Star Trek.
Wow. It's like you have been zapped into going really fast. It was great. Yeah. From a like, I don't know, is this a photographer, choreographer? I don't know what it is. Kind of perspective. The like transitioning into like you're starting to go fast and everyone else is starting to go slow. So cool.
Why it just keeps. I can't Dutch angle.
Oh no.
I can't. Aspen, can you Dutch angle for me? I need you to Dutch angle real quick. I need you to. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm not crazy. It keeps. Oh, boy, I was hoping to demonstrate it. Ugh.
You're good. It's
just so infuriating.
Just so infuriating. It's just so good.
So mad. And you can only see my infuriation on the YouTube channel.
You can also
YouTube.com/@TrekWarsPod.
Ever since we started doing the YouTube, I'm just so conscious of how I cannot sit still. A constant fidgeter.
That's great.
Just like
that just makes for more dynamic visual storytelling in a podcast.
Fantastic. Is that so? It makes up for the fact that I'm just like sitting in front of my closet.
Yeah, man.
Just a white background.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm sitting in the corner of my bedroom.
Yeah. Well, you got a cool bookshelf. You're doing great.
Are you talking about the films of Rudy Ray Moore collection?
Yeah, real cool. Wow.
Dolomite himself, Aspen.
Wow. That's really cool.
It is very cool. And then also, what else is cool within this episode?
I am finding like even as we're like these are fun. I think I am struggling a touch for like truly like thematic. There are connections, but like things that feel thematically interesting or compelling.
Well, I got this, and that's because I am just really digging, which is the thing that's been indicated in this episode is that this strategy is generational.
Right.
They have attempted other strategies and they just haven't worked. And so they are perpetuating toxic loops.
Yep.
Because it's the only thing that they know that works. And so that is damaging. And then not only that, but there is something about, we're in the 1960s. And again, I think this is an extremely generous reading because what the truth is that Gene Kuhn, the behind the scenes is that Gene Kuhn had 6 scripts to deliver to Star Trek. This was number 3. He was very tired because he was show running at the same time.
Wild Wild West.
It Takes a Thief. And then also Wild Wild West.
Because wasn't this originally a Wild Wild West episode?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aspen.
Yeah.
Great job.
Thank you. I read something.
Fascinating.
Oh my god.
Sorry, I got so mixed up with the sound effects that I completely forgot what we were talking about.
You're talking about Gene Kuhn being so tired.
Oh, yes. Because he was so busy. He also did a TV movie. He did a feature script. He was extremely in demand. And also because he is a gentleman, he was like, I got to fulfill my obligations for Star Trek. I should have moved my camera while I was talking because that's not going to cut well together. But I did it anyways. Why? Because. And so.
I feel like we're messes right now.
We're hot messes.
We're hot messes right now. That's okay.
Sure. And so this was script number 3 of 6 that he delivered, taken from a Wild Wild West episode that he had done. And this in itself was taken from, at least according to These Are the Voyages Season 3 by Mark Cushman and Susan Osborne, an H.G. Wells story called The Accelerated Man.
Cool.
This is a thing. That's fine.
Yeah.
Also, I never hate anyone for pulling tropes and doing that stuff.
I think that's
and
fantastic.
Also,
we borrow constantly.
Yeah. This premise was borrowed through the Trekking Through Time and Space podcast.
Cool.
And so this was script number 3 of 6. And then Gene Kuhn was like, I'm kind of at my wit's end.
Sure.
And then went into Fred Freiberger and was like, can I get released from my contract? I'm a gentleman. I'll do it. But I'm sleepy.
Yeah.
And gentleman was the way that Fred Freiberger described it whenever he was like, yeah, absolutely. You can get released from your contract. Thank you so much.
Gentleman.
Yeah. Because he was doing all of these things and also he was doing these Star Trek scripts on his downtime.
Right.
Yeah. And so this one, and then another script that we will get to later that is quite famous.
Okay. I can't even guess what it would be. Yeah. Let's.
And so going back to the generous.
Right. The generous reading.
Because I believe completely everyone was just like, we need to get an episode of Star Trek done. Let's do it. Think about the context. This episode gets released in November of 1968. 1968, a tumultuous year. And we are dealing with the youth of America being so unrecognizable, fast living, if you will.
Huh.
And so it is either the crew of the Enterprise having to deal with a completely new generation of folks and a completely different way of life that they don't necessarily understand, or these folks attempting to learn a completely different way from Captain Kirk and the crew of the Enterprise, thereby trying to come to a consensus about what exactly is the real way to live, because there's a point for the Scalosians, which is survival. And Captain Kirk is like, no, that's not the way. And then the end of the episode, Aspen, they send Deela and Rael back to the planet. And then afterwards is when McCoy walks into the transporter room and is like, I've got a cure. End of episode.
Right.
McCoy doesn't send the cure to it.
I don't know if the implication is that they do.
I don't think so, because I think that they want to punish the Scalosians for having done this, period. Even though it's a complicated gray issue, even though what they did is fundamentally wrong, but at the same time, it's the survival of their species.
I have a really sticky reading. You ready for my sticky reading?
Yeah, hold on. Let me play a sound effect to kind of lighten it. Here we go.
Moopsie.
Here we go.
I feel like this is something that is seen historically. This idea of like my survival of like my group, my ethnic group, and my nationalistic group. Like in my survival is can only be promised with your demise. Because that's effectively what they're doing. They're saying that we are. It feels very biblical to me, like in terms of different groups, just like obliterating each other. Because to say that ours, we have the, because we must live, it is actually morally a moral obligation to decimate you. Obviously, it is not, and it is far more complicated than that. So I cannot help but have a little have a little current Palestinian genocide touch that comes to mind
Mhm.
of like that in and of itself is of course far more complex, but has to do with well, no, I don't not in the
It's
way
not
that
complex.
that's not what
Right.
I meant. Like it, but compared to this episode, like the idea of like a governmental structure and then a genocide of a people. Because it's not actually about the survival of a group. It is about the obliteration of another group for ethnic
That's
cleansing and
yes.
space. And but so I mean, it's obviously not a one-to-one, but the same kind of themes
It's
arising of like, what are we the like it most certainly your your survival is not most certainly like others do not die because of your survival. Like it cannot be morally argued as such.
Yeah.
Unless they like so I think that is a sticky little wicket but is
I,
what is making me think of
I think that that's a dynamite reading.
Mhm. and
I
it
I think that that's a dynamite reading, and also indicative of the folks in charge
mhm.
by going that this is a gray issue, because I think the episode paints with that as
Right,
opposed to it's pretty cut and dry
right,
as
exactly,
you are arguing, and I think
yeah,
that is
it's pretty cut and
yeah
dry. And you
yeah
would have the argument from the other side of like, well, our actual state of being is threatened, and it's like you are just
or you could just ask.
or you could look. There could be other solutions
Yeah.
at hand. Like it
Which
was
they within the
well,
episode they said that they've tried other solutions.
well,
This is the only way that works, but also
well, and that so what that says to me, like if we were going to go pure textual reading, right? If we
we
were
are.
taking everything as true, the fact that McCoy could create a cure means that they probably could have as well. It's not like McCoy is the smartest scientist and doctor alive, right?
They kind of paint McCoy as the smartest
Sure.
doctor
Well, couldn't they have
alive
ever
in
like?
other episodes, but also who's to say?
But
And
also,
also there's this notion that I've glomped onto within the past month or so of utilizing trauma as an excuse
right?
to exercise things that you've always wanted to do.
That is
A very
exactly
real
that
thing
is it. That
that
is
is
it.
an issue.
Because
But then
they
you're choosing a fight as opposed to being like,
yes.
something very bad has happened to me and trying to process that in a constructive way.
And the generational trauma of it is like this is the way it has always been done. Like or at this
Yeah.
point it's like you have the stories that are kind of given to you, yeah, because presumably they could have popped in, pulled someone into a little space and been like you are a very well respected scientist, help us find a solution. But they don't
Mhm.
fucking do that.
Yeah.
They're just like we're going to literally use you as breeding stock. Horrifying shit, right? Like man. So I think it's exactly what you're saying, which is like at a certain point it becomes an excuse to enact the violence on others.
Yeah.
Like you're not looking for other solutions.
Because to a degree, it is also, and perhaps it's easier for me to say that because these are white folks that are fighting for survival, but a notion of ego because you're doing this for the survival of your race.
Right.
Okay. What does this mean? Or you could attempt to just make the best of what you have.
Right. Well,
yeah.
Yeah. Or like, again, you could look for other fucking solutions. But yeah. There is an ego element there.
Are you saying that Wink of an Eye is the most philosophically rich episode of Star Trek that we've ever covered?
I love that I went from being like, I'm just like struggling for things to being like angry. Like, oh, that's right. You're right. The core fundamental thing does enrage me now that I think about it.
Yeah. And then also, I mean, to talk about Star Wars and the philosophical implications, or not philosophical, more like the political implications, the fact that Dooku gets captured by a group of pirates.
Yeah.
As well, which feels so, on the one hand, the Jedi are superheroes. The Jedi are space cops. The Jedi can do anything and be anything, whatever the plot needs. But it's so fascinating watching the Filoni Zoni this week, and Filoni starting off with being like, this is, people might say that it's silly. People might say that it's silly for pirates to kind of capture Count Dooku.
But there's a lot
there's 30
of them.
And he keeps saying that. There's 30 of them.
There's 30 of them.
And there's only one Count Dooku. I'm going to start working on my Dave Filoni impression. I think
Yeah.
it's
It's
nasal,
a little nasal.
It's high-pitched.
Yeah.
I think I'm close.
Yeah, you're good. That's good. I like it. I want to start working on that Irish guy. It's cute.
But watching this episode, I'm just like, there's just something to it that feels honest.
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, it's a well-constructed episode. It's full of a lot of interesting
It's a
stuff.
well-constructed episode where Dooku is distrustful of these folks, but like he has to get away from the Jedi.
Yeah.
And so sees an opportunity. But also the pirates are smart. Hondo is smart, or at least smart enough
Smart enough.
to be like, I'm going to underplay my hand.
Yeah.
And then is just trustworthy enough. And then it's just like, we're not stupid. We know who you are. Now you're a prisoner.
Yeah.
That's great. That's cool.
It is really cool.
I enjoy that. I enjoy the implications of that. I'm excited to see what happens. Obviously, the status quo has to get reverted back for episode 3.
Right. I mean, it is very fun to see Dooku on his back foot.
And then also the negotiating with Palpatine
Yes.
and Yoda and Mace Windu.
And Padme.
Yeah, and Palpatine, because I don't know if you know this, Palpatine's in charge of both sides.
Palpatine's like, oh shit. What do I do? I didn't expect pirates. He's like, no, what do I do? I guess I could just pay money. He's like, which bank account do I use? And I make sure it's not the wrong one.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I got to take my money out of like evil Sith accounts versus my good Jedi accounts.
Yeah, exactly. And so seeing the maneuvering with that and these pirates having actual political leverage.
Oh, I love it.
Palpatine kind of overplaying it.
Yeah.
Also having to play it just right is delicious.
It's great. It is fun to see a third party come in and have power.
Yes.
Like, it's very cool.
A third party that also feels like an extrapolation of the Star Wars universe as opposed to an invention.
Which is wait till we get to Dathomir Witches.
Oh, okay. I've seen the Dathomir Witches.
But wait till you see them in Clone Wars.
If their hands aren't lightsabers,
they
I'm
aren't
so
lightsabers.
mad.
They aren't lightsabers. But they do like this.
Sorry, what? Sorry. So sorry.
Anyway, I think we did it.
Sorry, I'm thinking about Star Wars politics, which
Good. That's what you're supposed to do.
remember watching politics, at least fictional politics, is always very interesting for me. And it's so interesting whenever they restarted doing Star Wars with the sequel trilogy and basically jettisoned politics.
Yeah.
As opposed to recognizing the facts on the ground, which is that George Lucas was a bad director and wasn't able to execute the politics in a compelling way.
Right. Like Clone Wars is an example of executing the politics in a compelling way. It is possible. Andor is an extraordinary example.
Yeah. There
100%.
are so many examples of executing politics in an excellent way. But instead, Force Awakens rolls around and we have no sense of what the universe is. But also, that is a movie that is completely dealing with broken record aesthetics.
100%.
Should I just make an aesthetics button?
Yeah, 100% you should. And it should just be you going. It should be you going, aesthetics.
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 I'm in the front row. I want to believe. No, it's not. He's not levitating. It's aesthetics. Aesthetics.
Aesthetics. Okay. I know what's next. You can't trick me. I know.
A long time ago, start date this week. I courted a beau. I dated a geek. But none of them could warp my drive into hyperspace. The best of both worlds kept me in second place. Captain's log on a holocron. I wanted a snog. I penned a song. 17 more minutes of thighs in super high def. USS Enterprise, DTF. Don't you take my Ewok glider and clip it. Don't you take my red shirt buddy and nip it. If you spill the tea, I'm gonna sip it. I starship it.
Aspen, what are we doing?
All right, we are naming our favorite starships that ship through the sky. Our favorite relationships that ship through our heart. That's how it works. So we're gonna start with our favorite vehicles or ships from either property.
You bet you're bipping. And I'm
You're gonna go first. You're gonna take it.
Going
God
first.
damn it! Damn it! No.
I'm going for. You can also take like the second because we got two.
Okay.
If our minds are simpatico.
Okay, that's true.
We have a flying saucer.
Just a straight up spaceship. Just a straight up alien spaceship.
Up flying saucer. It's as if they took the model of the flying saucer from Indiana Jones and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and copy pasted it in. And I am fine with that. Weakways flying saucers, complete with all the sound effects. They were talking in the Filoni Zone about the beautiful theremin, trying to use that because George Lucas, according to the Filoni Zone, has been looking for a way to incorporate flying saucers into Star Wars.
Good. They're aliens.
That's great.
I love it.
That's great.
That's
I enjoy that.
great.
What is great about that is that I love flying saucers and I love them.
Oh, I think that's great because I too love flying saucers and I love that you love them.
I love that. You love that. I love them.
I love that there's a flying saucer and then there's a little like kind of like thing that comes out where, where you might pick up a cow and then another flying saucer comes out.
Well, I remember looking at the concept drawings for the art of episode 1, the little tiny book that came. I don't know if you had this VHS, but the Star Wars episode 1 VHS, widescreen VHS.
I might have.
Sure. And it came with its own little teeny tiny version of the art of episode 1. And it was showing like alternative versions of Naboo starfighters. And one of those designs was indeed just a saucer. But with a cockpit, which is what I think your starship is probably going to have.
Well, okay. I think that you've taken it with this. Like I think that the ideas there are the same.
No. They're different ships.
No, I know they're different ships. But I'll let you have your glory of the flying saucer. And I guess in that case, I will take also from Clone Wars the Sheathipede class transport shuttle that Dooku takes and crashes. That's what it's called. The Sheathipede. The Sheathipede class transport shuttle. That's what it's called. It's like a Sheathipede. It's a Nemoidian escort shuttle. It's a short range transport and it has like a real Nemoidian vibe. It looks like a Nemoidian soldier beetle. So like it's kind of like what I did really like about it is when I really liked the shape, and then when I found out that it was Nemoidian as well, that makes sense to me. Because I feel like it just has a sort of aesthetic representation where it feels so associated with Nemoidians. Mm-hmm. It's a cool one. I really liked it. So if you weren't going to take the flying saucer, which I knew you would, I was like, I'll do this. I'll do this little guy.
So great.
I guess we could also take, the idea of moving quickly through time, the like Scalosian water. You are the vehicle moving through.
Look at me. You are the vehicle now.
You're the vehicle now. So, but beautiful, fun, exciting starships in Clone Wars today.
Absolutely.
God, what a nice time. I love their arts. So good.
You know what else is good? Relationships.
Relationships.
And because I was swinging in like a buccaneer, seizing the first choice. I'll be a gentleman, and I'll let you have the first relationship.
All right.
Wow, you just completely just took a nap right there.
This is my idea for a game too. Well, it's technically Joel's idea. Every time I'm like, it's my game, he's like, I gave you the idea. This is called a power couple. Uh, what am I trying to say? I feel
Excellent
like
question.
I'm telling you, it's a goofy day.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna go with I'm gonna do a Trek one, and I'm gonna do Deela and Rail. I'm gonna do them.
Really?
Yes, Rayleigh. I'm not gonna do Deela. I'm not gonna do Deela and Kirk because it feels too yucky, even if they're both hot. I've done yucky ones before, but this one feels I just don't want to deal with it right now. It just feels so gross. I believe in their villain love, their villainous love. I feel sad that they are restricted by concepts of what love should be. She obviously adores him. The things that she likes about Kirk are characteristics of him. They're very well matched, and it is a tragedy of their circumstance that they don't feel quite like that be like obviously if there were space for like real polycule love, like that wasn't based in sort of subjugation of people, like that'd be rad too. Like the threesome would be fantastic. Like add Kirk to that would be a rad one. Love that. That'd be a great ship. I think because there is no space for that in this, there's just this idea of like either ors. Just do the two of them, and I would wish for a better circumstance for them. That maybe he does ship down the cure, and they do get to have lots of fucking villain babies. I don't know. They teach them a better life in a world that isn't about domination of other people and the eradication of others for their own survival. I'm doing great. That's my ship.
Excellent. So my ship is Hondo and his entire crew.
Great.
Hondo Onaka has the energy of being like, you are someone that is new. It's Friday.
Nah.
Would you like to have a good time?
Nah.
And I think everyone is just like, yeah, man, we are hedonists.
Yeah, kind of. They got that vibe.
Yeah, we're hedonists.
Yeah.
We want to live big. Let's do it. And so everyone is getting together with everyone, but they're kind of chill about it. It's just cool, open love. Everything's consensual, but none of it's serious.
Yeah.
They just want to they just want to have a good time.
I love that. That's like the opposite of the Star Trek situation. Oh, what a joy. Everyone's just boning.
Yeah. And I'm choosing that my reading is that Hondo is duplicitous.
Yeah.
On the surface.
Yes.
But then in the bedroom, it's very generous.
Right. And he doesn't exert his power in an unsafe way.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great reading.
Because he's too busy trying to provide, even though he's providing in his own duplicitous way, but he's still got to be expending a lot of effort. And whenever he gets into the bedroom, I think it is a degree of vulnerability that, quite frankly, might be uncomfortable for some.
Yeah.
But they're willing, because Hondo
is
such a hedonist and he's their lead hedonist. Other people are willing to meet him.
It's real daddy energy. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we can only dream, you know? We can only dream and go to AO3.
And speaking of AO3, there are 2 of these episodes that we have to rank because that is the central conceit of these episodes.
I fucking hated that.
I understand. That was a sweaty transition. The sweaty transitions could be my middle name if we get enough Patreon money. So we go back to the central conceit of the podcast, which is better, Star Trek or Star Wars, by ranking both Wink of an Eye from season 3 of Star Trek, the original series, versus Dooku Captured. Boy, oh boy. I'm going first. Dooku Captured. I'm going to say I'm feeling generous today. 7.5.
Oh, yeah.
It's a hot app, man.
It is. Has some good dynamics to it. Good dynamism, good character work, good art.
The Anakin Obi-Wan relationship,
Mm.
we've seen it, and we've seen plays at it.
Yeah.
But we basically get to be with them for a whole episode just chumming around. And
That's great.
they never really hit that they were friends in the movies.
Oh.
They try, but Lucas is only so good. But here it feels effortless in a way that I don't think that we've seen before. It is a joy. And then at the same time, Dooku dealing with the pirates and the negotiations they are in. And then Obi-Wan, again, like I said, the ending of this episode is really something that makes it for me by them just being like, it just worked out.
It just worked. Or did it?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. This is the last episode of Clone Wars, right? And all Star Wars?
All Star Wars. This episode is, we're now starting on our Xena versus Hercules.
Xena? What are you talking about?
I know. No, listen, I know. I love, there's a line that I just keep thinking about. It was in the Filoni Zoni too, where Anakin's like, how am I expected to, he's like, why am I always the one who gets captured? He's like, well, when you're a Jedi master, you won't. And he's like, well, how am I expected to be a master if I'm always getting caught? And he's just like, well, I guess you are a master at getting captured. And it's just like, so good.
And then what's weird is that a basketball came out of nowhere. Obi-Wan got it and then just immediately dunked it.
He was just like, oh, yeah, like some sunglasses and a cap came down and just went, burn. Got him.
He skateboarded out onto a half pipe and then just nailed it.
The CSI music was like, great app. Can I also give it a 7.5?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks. I can match. Because I feel the same. I feel the same, man.
It's a hot app, man.
It's just fun. This is just such a good show.
And then averaging our two scores together, that brings it to a collective total of 7.5, but it's still anyone's game as we go over to Wink of an Eye, which I am going to give a 7.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not even lying to you. I also had 7 in my mind. I'm not joking. It was This
is a fun, silly, campy episode of Star Trek that gets by on emotional vibes. Yeah.
Yeah, emotional propulsion for sure.
It's a fun, quick-paced, action-first episode. Don't think about it too hard.
Stop thinking
and just enjoy it.
Just get over yourselves. Oh, magnets.
Speaking of magnets, these polls have whatever. Aspen.
Yeah. Exactly.
Star Wars wins the week.
I'm loving this. Really loving this. What a time to be alive, Truly a time to be alive where Star Wars is dominating.
Star Wars dominating. And you know who else dominates us?
God.
Yeah. God. Great, Aspen. Wonderful contribution. I appreciate your input.
Have you heard the good news about domination?
Our patrons and our folks. This week on our Instagram, which you can go over to instagram.com/TrekWarsPod, we ran a little contest, and a previous guest and hopefully future guest, Dr. Tiffany Knoll, is the proud winner of a new and unopened Season 1 Blu-ray of Star Trek Picard.
Cute.
Congratulations, Dr. Tiffany Knoll.
You did it, buddy.
Are a Trek Wars All-Star.
Oh, I really like that. Wait, do you have a sound effect to go with that?
Well, hold on.
Okay.
We do canonically have the honorary badge of courage, something that we have very rarely given out. And so I'm going to switch it from Trek Wars All-Star to pronounce that Dr. Tiffany L. Knoll is the second inductee to the honorary badge of courage, Trek Wars. Congratulations, Dr. Tiffany Knoll. You are a winner.
Who got our first Badger carriage?
Cinematographer Jerry Finnerman.
Oh, okay. Great job, Jerry.
Great job, Jerry. And great job, Dr. Tiffany Eldon. Yes, what you had to do to participate in the contest is subscribe to our YouTube channel, which you can subscribe to at youtube.com/@TrekWarsPod, and then comment on our Instagram about how much of a shill we are in trying to get people to nakedly subscribe to our YouTube channel. So we appreciate your contributions. And not only did we get that contribution, we got a contribution from our latest Patreon episode from Arizona Mark in our discussion with Dr. Tiffany L. Knoll. Hell yeah to animation being a medium that can and does do anything. We need to have this conversation on animation fascination. All three people from this episode, plus me.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'd love to do that.
Shout out to Mark's podcast, Animation Fascination.
I mean, whenever we start the animated series, we should probably have Arizona Mark on.
Yeah, dude.
If he's fascinated with animation.
Like, if you really like, I mean, we're talking about Clone Wars, we can have him on too. We were talking about animation.
That's true. We are talking about animation, but that's different. Thank you so much, Arizona Mark. Freaking love reading your correspondence. And also, for folks that are subscribed for just looking at our Patreon because they want to see what the heck we're up to, because we have free subscribers, we have also created a new tier. For $1 a month, you can subscribe to our Patreon and we will say your name on air.
Here.
We got 50 slots open. What are you waiting for, you ding-dongs?
Oh, goodness. Oh, gosh. Do you think it's how we get people?
I think so.
Get them with the honey.
Yeah.
Make no mistake. You ding-dongs. You ding-dongs. That's what I mean. Saying your name is great.
That's right. Literally every single bit helps because it is a joy that we are net even on our bills.
Yeah.
In order to do this thing, because I've done so many podcasts in the past where we were losing lots of money, and that was unfortunate. And I'm really glad that we have an audience that is helping us pay the bills.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Hey. Thanks.
Hey, Kenny.
Hey. Yeah.
Thanks.
Hey, Aspen.
Hey. Yeah.
Thanks.
Cool.
Anyways, you too could join the fine offices of fine folks such as Timbo DeSosa, Heidi Rogers, Kevin Miller, Arizona Mark, Austin Aaron, and lastly, but certainly not leastly, Joel T. Partner, who composed our I Starship It theme song. Our main music and our end titles come from Mr. Tosin Awofeso, where you can get more of his services by going to the show notes below. Anything else that I'm forgetting from our usual end of episode spiel?
Nah, dude. I love it.
I love it. I freaking love you, Aspen. It's such a joy to be able to talk to you every single week.
Freaking love you.
And audience, we sincerely love you very much. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you out there. Also, may the force be with you and live long and prosper.